Paranormal Phenomena, Cat Spirit Story. I am a very curious person. Me and my friend Callie were playing with a Ouija board. We believed in ghosts, but we didn't think that we would really contact one. A week before me and Callie played with the Ouija board, something really scared me. I was going downstairs to see if my dad had any candy hidden in his little area. The only light in that area was my flashlight and the basement light. Right when I found the candy, I reached for it. As I did, I heard the sound of a cat puking. I was terrified, so I dropped the candy and ran upstairs. A week after that incident, my friend Callie spent the night. We were down in my room asking the Ouija board questions like, "What is your name? And how old were you when you died?" The thing that freaked us out the most is that it said its name was Princey. Princey was my cat, who died in 2007. I knew that he was 7 in human years when he died, and when we asked how old he was, it said 7. We also asked if it was my cat in his past life, and it said yes. We asked a few other questions, then went to bed. After she left in the morning, my mom and brother had to run to the store. My dad was in his room asleep. I stayed home on the computer. When they were gone, I heard a cat moaning. I also heard that same sound a few weeks after Princey died. I thought that it was his way of saying goodbye. Nothing has happened since then, but things had been happening even before me and Callie played with that Ouija board. Recently, I had gotten a little chill down my spine, but I told myself that it was all in my head. Shortly thereafter, I told myself that I heard the sound of a cat running across the living room. I got up and looked around, but didn't find a cat anywhere. I couldn't take the fright anymore, so I turned the computer off and went outside and sat with my dog until my mom got home. A lot more events like these have been happening and are still happening at this moment. The scariest thing about all of this? We had no cats when these events occurred. The last cat we had died in June. These events took place in November 2009. Bandit Spirit Story. Carla's ghost story about her dog. My pet dog Pekingese, a Pekingese Maltese mix named Bandit, passed Valentine's Day 2005 at age 5 unexpectedly. He was sick 3 months straight, and while the specialist was performing a myelogram on him, he passed. I was devastated because he was my child, for I have no children. He was the most loving dog. He went everywhere with me. Almost a month later, I went to bed one night and woke up out of my body. I sat up, looked around, and saw Bandit's sister, Scarlet, still asleep beside me. She's my twins dog, and she sleeps with me a lot. The walls in the room turned dark, and there was Bandit laying against my leg looking up at me. He was young again and happy and wagging that tail. He then jumped down, and I told him I loved him. He then ran over to a white bowl on the floor and started drinking, then ran off in the distance, looking back at me and wagging his tail. I then awakened, sitting up. I know it was an out-of-body experience, as it was so real. I ran into my twin's room and told her about it. My dog proved to me that there is life after death for animals. Chinky's Spirit. Nanu Sharma's dog ghost story. 2 years back, a female street dog gave birth to 2 puppies just outside our house. We were only there to take care of them. They were very sweet. One of the female puppies we named Chinky, as she was very naughty. Chinky always came inside my home and messed with things. My parents also loved the puppies very much. Chinky usually runs here and there and plays all the time with us. In our neighborhood, nobody likes dogs, and so someone kicked these 2 puppies. One day when I came home from school, I was told that Chinky was kicked by a motorbiker. My brother and I hurriedly came to her aid and took her to a hospital. After doing x-rays, the doctor told us that her left leg was totally broken, and we had to do an operation immediately. He also told us that there was only 50% chance that she would survive. It was really hard for us to hear. We were helpless at that time, but left Chinky to the hospital with sad hearts. Even more difficult, she was crying and shouting at us when she saw that we are going to leave without her. I saw her innocent eyes and walked away. I started crying on my way out, feeling totally helpless. The doctor had not allowed us to stay in the hospital, but said he would call us in the morning. The next morning, around 4 a.m., my mother woke up and shouted that Chinky was outside and barking. I suddenly woke up from the bed and ran towards the door. I also heard the voice of Chinky, but when I opened the door, there was nothing. I then realized there was no way Chinky could be there, as she was in the hospital. Then, we received a phone call around 4:15 a.m. from the hospital. The doctor told my mother that around 3:50 a.m., Chinky stopped breathing and died. I was shocked and started crying. It was then that we came to realize that Chinky came home after her death to see us one last time. Her soul was standing outside my house to make us feel her presence. We believe she loves us very much. A stray cat's spirit influence. CVT from Toledo's take on animal ghosts. For years I took care of a stray cat outside, and it was frightened after her owner died. She roamed the neighborhood and would not be nice to me until one winter it was so cold outside that I brought her and several other strays inside. They enjoyed being inside until spring, when I let them out once again. One day I came home and found her laying on the sidewalk in front of the house and near death. I picked her up, put her in a basket with a towel, and her death came very soon after that. A little while later, I saw her spirit walking in the basement. After I acknowledged her presence, I never saw her again. I believe she returned to let me know she appreciated my kindness to her. She was there to say goodbye and went on to the spirit world, where she is supposed to be now. Animals have spirits, and I know that now from the ones who visit me. It causes me to be very kind to all animals, not only the cats, but to whoever happens to come on my porch to get food. Builders have taken away the natural habitat. So many animals depend on the kindness of humans. When they die, I miss them, and quite often they appear to me in spirit. All of this has caused me to think about the animals who are killed for meat. Although I have not become a full-fledged vegetarian, yet I have cut way back on these things, knowing an animal has to die to feed us their flesh. Paranormal pet story. Ozzy the ferret. My grandmother seems to be experiencing some type of activity in her household. She's not senile. She actually has all of her wits about her. She is convinced it is our recently deceased pet ferret, Ozzy. Basically, he used to have the run of the house and was best buddies with our cat. I used to live with my grandmother, but moved out a couple years ago. The ferret was actually my pet, and I left him there with my grandmother because I didn't want to uproot him from where he lived his whole life, separate him from the cat, etc., in his senior years. The activity she is experiencing is our cat still exhibiting the same behavior he did when Ozzy was alive. He used to run to his food dish and wait for Ozzy to join him to eat before starting to eat. He still does this and looks up the hall as if watching for him, then follows with his eyes as if something is coming down the hall. He then begins to eat. He also seems to follow something around the house with his eyes, and then gets frisky and acts as if he is playing with something that isn't there. It was a regular occurrence when Ozzy was alive for both of them to play together. This is a very overweight cat that never played on his own unless initiated by Ozzy. In a nutshell, the cat is acting like Ozzy is still there. My grandmother also claims that every night she feels Ozzy climbing around under the covers at her feet in the bed. This was another normal and nightly occurrence when the ferret was alive. She actually sleeps in the bedroom that I shared with Ozzy. He would climb into bed with me every night and curl up at my feet to sleep. She said she has even gone to the extremes of leaving her light on at night, looking down at her feet when she feels something crawling around. The covers do not move, but she can still feel him. Also, she stripped the bed and flipped the mattress over, because at first she thought it was some animal, like a mouse or something, doing it. She is so convinced that it is him that she left a couple of his toys out to see if he would move them, but they haven't moved. She is not scared or bothered by this. I had to have Ozzy put to sleep because he got very ill and was suffering. We buried him next to my grandmother's home. That is my ghost story so far. I will gladly tell you more, but at another time maybe. Good day. Remember, if you bump into a ghost, show no fear. Not all visitors from the other side come to scare. Like this video if you believe. Subscribe for more true stories. And tell us your experience in the comments.